Ever wonder what happens when an entire galaxy ignores a warning about humans? Let's just say it didn't go the way the aliens thought. They thought we were small. They thought we were divided. And they thought we could never survive if the wider galaxy turned against us. Turns out they were wrong. Today, you're going to hear exactly how that happened. And by the end, you might find yourself saying, "This is exactly what I needed today." It all began in the towering amphitheater of the Celestial Circle, the grand assembly where representatives from 1,000 star systems gathered. Hovering platforms formed rows in a huge ring, each platform holding a different species, some crystal-bodied, some gaseous in shimmering bubbles, some spiky with plated shells. They were all there for one reason. A new species known as humans had just burst onto the scene, and the circle needed an emergency meeting. High Conductor Zevra, her bioluminescent tendrils shifting with an uneasy glow, brought the place to silence. She had called everyone to discuss these peculiar creatures from a small blue planet. Her voice resonated through a translator, so every delegate could understand. Esteemed colleagues, I must bring to your attention this rapidly progressing species. They call themselves humans. We have never seen a civilization develop starflight so quickly. Their homeworld, Earth, was once rife with conflict, yet in mere centuries they've unified, terraformed their neighboring worlds, and pushed deeper into space. We do not fully understand their limits. The Circle's platforms erupted in murmurs. Yes, new species showed up now and then, but rarely did the High Conductor call them all together in alarm. She continued, "Humans are resourceful and unpredictable. They show acts of compassion and also moments of cruelty. They are walking contradictions." A crystalline delegate, pulsing with color, asked if humans were truly that worrisome. Another from a race of living currents insisted this was an overreaction. But Zevra frowned, her lights flickering across her forehead. "We do not fear them," she said carefully, "but we must treat them with caution. Let's propose a universal advisory. Contact with humans should be managed and reported to the Circle. We must avoid conflict." Many delegates agreed. But then a new platform drifted into the amphitheater, carrying Ambassador Varric of the Tressik Empire, a rising power from the far reaches. He was late, his shell gleaming in the overhead lights. "High Conductor," Varric said, "we in the Tressik Empire see no real threat in this so-called human problem. They're a minor race, scattered across a few worlds. And if we see fit, we'll add them to our empire." Zevra's luminous patterns shifted to a warning red. "Ambassador Varric, the Circle urges against aggressive moves. The humans may surprise you." Varric just let out a buzzing sound that might have been laughter. "We chart our own course, Conductor. We have subjugated species far stronger than these upstart humans. Perhaps, in time, they will learn they belong to the Tressik." And with that, he swept away, ignoring the resolution under discussion. Zevra's apprehension deepened. She could sense how precarious this could become if the Tressik decided to test humans. The Circle ended up issuing a cautious statement, urging every star system to avoid provoking humanity. But it was too late. A far corner of the galaxy was about to find out exactly why these warnings existed light years away. In a peaceful human colony called Havenstar, nobody had a clue about the Celestial Circle's debate. The colony was still growing, home to farmers, scientists, and explorers who'd tamed a once hostile planet. They had small defense turrets to scare off pirates, but that was about it. Humanity was forging onward, excited to see what the stars had to offer. Dr. Elena Mori was in her lab, analyzing local microbes for new medical breakthroughs. Havenstar was a treasure trove for a curious biologist like her. She could see green hills and farmland through the window, with the bright midday sun glinting off the colony's main settlement, called First Light City. It was a usual day, or so she thought. Her assistant, Michael Chun, burst in, nearly dropping his datapad. "Dr. Mori," he gasped, "the deep space scans picked up a fleet, 20, maybe 30 ships, heading our way at high speed. No known ID, no replies to our hails." Elena felt the blood drain from her face. This was new. Pirates rarely venture this far. And a fleet that large? Overkill. "Notify Governor Reyes," she said, adrenaline already spiking. "We need an emergency council meeting right now." Within minutes, The colony's leadership gathered in the administrative dome. Governor Reyes, a tough woman in her mid-50s, cleared her throat. We have an unidentified force approaching, possibly quite advanced. There's no sign of peaceful intent. We've got minimal defenses. Our nearest help is Earth, but even if we send a distress call right this second, it'll take weeks for them to arrive. Captain Javier Wallace, a former Earth Navy officer now in charge of local defense, looked grim. So basically, we're on our own. We can attempt to barricade the city, put the settlers in bunkers, but if these ships are hostile, he didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone knew the colony had no chance if a full-scale invasion began. Still, they voted to fortify as best they could and broadcast a priority SOS to Earth. Maybe, just maybe, help would arrive in time. That same day, the Tressik Imperial fleet under Emperor Sarth dropped out of faster-than-light near Havenstar. In the command chamber of his flagship, Emperor Sarth gazed at a hologram of the planet. Such a sweet, unsuspecting world, he mused, his mandibles twitching in satisfaction. This will be an excellent addition to our empire. General Rojan, second in command, inclined his head. Their scans show minimal armed units, mostly settlement equipment. Easy conquest, my emperor. Sarth gave a smug hum. Then begin. Take them quickly. Show them what it means to face Tressik power. On Havenstar, panic set in when the Tressik ships rained down from orbit. They targeted the colony's tiny defense towers and overcame them in minutes. Captain Wallace led a small squadron of single-pilot interceptors, but for every Tressik gunship they took out, 3 more replaced it. The colonists who'd never fired a weapon found themselves grabbing rifles, desperate to buy time for families to escape to hidden shelters in the mountains. Elena Mori helped coordinate an underground triage center in a network of natural caves. The last thing she saw before ducking inside was flames licking the horizon and Tressik dropships landing in the fields. For the Tressik, it was going exactly as they expected. They cut power to the city, stormed the streets, and broadcast demands in their static-laced language. Havenstar belongs to the Tressik Empire. Surrender or die. The colonists, outgunned at every turn, just tried to slow the enemy so more people could flee. Then, at a makeshift command post, an operator managed to confirm their SOS had reached Earth. The question was, how soon could help actually come? Weeks away. On Earth, President Beek gathered her top military and scientific minds in an underground war room. Admiral Helen Zhao, head of the Earth Fleet, had an urgent message to share. Havenstar's under full-scale attack. Our only choice is to send a fleet, but that's at least a 20-day trip at best speed. General Maria Huerta, in charge of Earth's ground forces, folded her arms. We can't just leave them to die. We need every ship we can muster, and we need them now. The Tressik clearly won't stop with Havenstar if they win. Agreed, Beek said, voice taut. Begin immediate mobilization. Every warp-capable cruiser we have, every new battleship still in prototype. We do everything in our power to save Havenstar. In orbit above Earth, the brand-new Starlance platform, an enormous station built to harness gravitational lens technology, was only half-tested. Dr. Hiro Tanaka, its lead scientist, was basically living on coffee. I can get the Starlance to maybe 90% capacity, he told his sleepless team. It's risky, but if we want to scare off an entire invasion fleet, we might not have a choice. Meanwhile, in smaller labs across the planet, engineers fine-tuned advanced shield generators based on scraps of alien tech Earth had encountered over the years. They'd never used them in a major conflict, but that was about to change. Factories ran non-stop, forging hull plates that could withstand cosmic punishment. Volunteers poured in from every city, signing up to serve in the hastily assembled expeditionary force. Within a week, Admiral Zhao commanded a flotilla of 150 ships, led by the flagship Resolute, humanity's latest pride, sporting integrated alien technology from past encounters. Captain Aisha Oak, a skilled officer with an unyielding calm, was tapped to steer Resolute right into the Tressik warpath. She exhaled a shaky breath on the bridge. All hands, prepare for warp. We're doing this for our people on Havenstar. On Havenstar itself, the Tressik rampage continued. Emperor Sarth watched from the ruined Capitol building's balcony. Look at them, running to caves and bunkers, he said with contempt. He had established a quick command center, enslaving any local who dared surrender. Others were simply shot on sight. The Tressik presence spread across farmland, capturing key resources. They even destroyed atmospheric processors to break the planet's fragile terraforming systems. If the humans couldn't breathe, that was their problem. In the hidden caverns, Elena Mori and Michael Chun helped care for wounded colonists. Children cried softly in the dim glow of emergency lanterns. Tunnels were clogged with families who had no idea if rescue was even possible. Food and medicine ran dangerously low. Rumors whispered that Tressik troopers were about to start a full sweep of the mountains. But one day, a battered scout from the outside stumbled in, face covered in dust, eyes bright with a bizarre hope. "They're here," he rasped. "I saw big streaks of light in orbit. It might be Earth's fleet." At first, no one believed it. Earth ships shouldn't have been able to arrive so fast. But the next night, the entire sky lit up with silver arcs and lines of tracer fire. The Tressik base camp on the outskirts of First Light City started launching intercept fighters. Explosions rattled the colony. For the first time in weeks, those hiding in the caves felt something new. A flicker of hope up in orbit. The Earth fleet had indeed arrived earlier than planned, thanks to some experimental warp boosters and a lot of raw nerve. Captain Aisha Ake's voice rang out across the comm. "All ships, form up. We have one shot to break their lines before they bring everything to bear." Earth cruisers unleashed concentrated salvos. Tressik warships reeled from the unexpected blow. The Tressik had never faced an enemy with such fast-adapting tactics. Their commands were used to linear battle. Humans attacked from multiple angles, leveraging updated shields and weaving in unpredictable patterns that confused Tressik targeting computers. But it wasn't one-sided. The Tressik had far more ships. In the first hour, the Earth fleet lost a significant chunk of smaller corvettes. Captain Oak clenched her jaw as a huge Tressik dreadnought hammered the Resolute's forward shield. Another hit, and that shield would fail. But Admiral Zhao, commanding from a different vantage, coordinated a daring flanking maneuver. Earth frigates zipped in from behind an asteroid cluster, sabotaging the Tressik dreadnought's engine. The massive ship spun out of formation. Meanwhile, the Starlance platform's gravitational lens weapon, though not fully tested, prepared to fire from a distant vantage. Dr. Tanaka keyed in final calculations, sweat soaking his collar. "If we're off by even a fraction, we could hit our own ships or tear a rift in subspace. But we have no choice." The Starlance unleashed a silent beam across the void, a beam so potent that it carved through a cluster of Tressik carriers as if slicing through clay. Half the Tressik formation vanished in an eye-searing flash. On Havenstar's surface, Tressik ground troops panicked at the planet-shaking blasts overhead. The Earth fleet's arrival forced many Tressik platoons to retreat toward their landing craft, hoping to flee the planet if the tide turned. This gave local resistance fighters the opening they needed. Captain Wallace, who'd been presumed dead, emerged from hiding with a ragtag militia. They stormed into the capital district, reclaiming it in a furious firefight. Elena Mori, hearing the news via shortwave radio, felt tears of relief. The Tressik, while still present, no longer had an iron grip. In orbit, the fight escalated. Another wave of Tressik reinforcements blinked into real space. Earth sensors screamed warnings. The Tressik just kept coming, and the Earth fleet was running short on ammo, short on ships, short on everything. But humans refused to fold. That's when the Starlance fired again, draining massive energy reserves. Tanaka's crew risked meltdown to pump out one more shot. They targeted the Tressik reinforcements before they could form up. It worked. 2 entire battlecruisers shattered. The rest scattered in chaos. Admiral Zhao seized the moment, rallying battered Earth vessels for one final push. They hammered the Tressik from all sides. Finally, the Tressik flagship signaled surrender. Emperor Sarth snarled as his second-in-command reported catastrophic losses. "Impossible," he spat. "They're just upstart creatures." But the truth was undeniable. The Tressik had miscalculated, and now they had no choice but to pull back or be annihilated. Slowly, the Tressik survivors fled into warp, leaving behind a graveyard of twisted hulls. Cheers erupted across the Earth fleet's comm channels. Captain Oak nearly collapsed in her chair from exhaustion. "Send word to Havenstar," she said, voice trembling with victory. "We won." On the planet below, Elena Mori stepped out of the cave for the first time in weeks. Smoke still rose from patches of farmland, but Tressik banners had been torn down. She caught sight of a shuttle descending on the horizon, bearing Earth's emblem. People cried, laughed, hugged each other. Through the swirling dust, Admiral Zhao emerged from the shuttle ramp, offering a salute to the local militia. "Sorry we took so long. We came as fast as we could." What followed was a wave of relief so overwhelming that entire families just sank to their knees. The nightmares of Tressik domination ended in a day. Although the colony was ravaged, it was still standing. The survivors would rebuild. News traveled fast. The Tressik Empire had been forced into a humiliating retreat, undone by the humans they'd ridiculed. In the Celestial Circle, High Conductor Zevra received frantic messages from species she had never heard from before, all wanting the truth about these unstoppable humans. Did the Circle's warnings hold weight after all? Zevra responded with new instructions. The humans were not to be trifled with, but also not to be shunned. They had proven their power, and their willingness to use it only when pushed. The Circle decided to offer humans a place on their council, at least a provisional seat. If humans were going to be such a force, better to invite them in than fight them. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Beak addressed the entire planet and the liberated colony via quantum link. "Havenstar is free," she proclaimed. "We have shown that we do not abandon our own, nor will we abandon any friend who stands with us. This is a milestone, not just for humankind, but for the entire galaxy that now sees who we truly are." All across Havenstar, reconstruction began. Engineers used captured Tressik components to upgrade the colony's infrastructure. Elena Mori led a relief team to help stabilize the climate processors the Tressik had sabotaged. She discovered that the adversity had forged the colonists into something new, part frontier people, part heroes of a sudden legend. Many from Earth volunteered to settle there, determined to make it a symbol of unity. When the Celestial Circle invited humankind to join them in open session, Admiral Zhao and Dr. Tanaka went to represent Earth. They arrived in that grand amphitheater, once so hostile to the idea of humans, and were met with applause. Zevra greeted them personally. "Your species has proven your bravery," she said, "but also your compassion. You fought not out of conquest, but to protect." Admiral Zhao, standing among swirling lights and hundreds of alien eyes, answered respectfully. "We never asked for conflict, but if forced, we'll defend ourselves and those under our care. We're also ready to learn from the rest of the galaxy." And so, a new chapter began. Some species still feared humankind, but others admired them for upending the Tressik Empire's bullying ways. The Tressik, meanwhile, tried to regroup, their emperor forced to sign a truce under the watchful eye of the Circle. They would never again simply roll over a world without expecting a fierce response that on Havenstar. Elena Mori walked across farmland that had once been burning rubble. Children now played where Tressik troopers once marched. Michael Chun was by her side, finishing an impromptu greenhouse project. "Look at them," Michael remarked, nodding toward the kids chasing one another. "They won't remember the invasion as clearly as we do. They'll just grow up with the knowledge that when trouble came, we stood and fought." Elena smiled. "Sometimes that's enough. That memory of courage can shape a generation." Ships came and went from Havenstar, carrying trade goods, colonists, and even some Tressik diplomats hoping to negotiate new opportunities instead of waging war. Bits of Tressik knowledge were shared in exchange for Earth's help with repairing their battered economy. Meanwhile, humanity's tech soared, thanks to the recovered Tressik warp modules and the Starlink's gravitational lens secrets. Earth companies developed new ways to explore the galaxy, setting up further colonies. Each was better protected, with improved planetary shields and standing defense squads. President Beak joked in a press conference, "I guess the Tressik are regretting ignoring that council warning now." But behind the humor, there was a sincere message. Earth welcomed peaceful relations with all species. The door was open, but the lesson of Havenstar was clear. If anyone tried to take them down, humanity wouldn't go quietly Oh, that's how it happened. A cosmic council gave a cautious heads up about humans, and the Tressik Empire shrugged it off. They invaded one colony, thinking we were easy prey. They learned the hard way that humans aren't pushovers. Now, the galaxy has changed. Humanity stepped onto the interstellar stage with a reputation for unstoppable spirit and enough compassion to prefer building bridges rather than burning them. In the end, what was once fear turned into partnerships. What was once secrecy became open alliances. People throughout the galaxy, alien or human, started to share technology and ideas. The Tressik, licking their wounds, realized they weren't unstoppable after all. Meanwhile, Havenstar thrived as a living monument to survival and unity, a place that overcame a nightmare and decided to use that pain to build something stronger, kinder, and braver. And that, as they say, is how the story goes when you ignore the galaxy's warnings about humans. Turns out, we're not the monsters you might expect.